What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Profit Picks. If you are new, we do always start this show by being transparent. And yesterday, there was a game in the WNBA, but I didn't play it. There was no NBA on the board. I went 1-0 with tennis. I took Blinkova minus 110. Easy, easy win. She won in straight sets. So I was a little disappointed I didn't also add Raducanu, but a win is a win. 1-0. I will take it for yesterday. Vino, it's good to be here with you. We're doing it on the Wager Talk channel this time. How's everything for you? How'd you do yesterday?
Things are good, Skee. Now, yesterday, I was a little upset late at night. I did play that WNBA game. And of course, Seattle and Dallas, you know my mantra with Dallas, it's a one-way ticket. Play them over or don't play at all. Played it over. Saw 97 first half points and did the ultimate or committed the ultimate cardinal sin in gambling. I kind of counted it as an over 163 and a half. The closing line value was put in the garbage can one more time, Skee, because Seattle won a game last night unbelievably by scoring 23 points in the second half. I mean, it just doesn't happen. 23 points. Dallas didn't do much better. They turned a sure over into an under. So it did go 0-1, but it's still been a great run. I mean, I can't complain with anything that's happened since St. Patrick's Day, the 17th of March. We're up near 70 units. I think the total is 68.7 all sports. So we'll take that one. It was one that got me angry for a few minutes, but we're back at it now.
Yeah, you've been doing some nice work for quite a while. So let's keep it going here. We appreciate you guys in the chat. Couple usual suspects, new face maybe too. Shout out to B-Man. He says, my favorite combo. And looks like we'll be over here on Wager Talk. So make sure you guys subscribe so you know whenever we go live. And if you've been around, you know how the show goes. If you're new, you'll find out. So let's get to it. First game up, we'll do NBA first. We go in rotation order. So first up is 527, 528. Looks like Minnesota and Oklahoma City opened up Thunder -7. I see a 7.5, maybe a couple 7.5s, but consensus line right now is still 7. As far as the total, here's the big move. Open 213.5. See it as high as 218 right now, Mr. Vino. This is Timberwolves, who have had, I believe, 5 days off since their last game. The Thunder just coming off of that 7-game series versus the Nuggets. I'm gonna pass it over to you first here, Vino. It's a big move on the. I mean, I could go for it, but I think I have a lot more to say about WNBA, so I'll pass to you first for NBA.
All right. So
do you agree with this line move on the total?
Well, let's do something unusual here, Skee, and let me ask you the question because
go for
it. Do you understand the push towards over in this total? I mean, do you get it? Because you do.
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
All right. So my thought process, or why it makes sense to me, is we know these are two good defenses, right? Maybe two of the top defenses in the NBA. But will we get the best defensive effort from OKC after that long, grinded out 7-game series? Also, not only that, I mean, they haven't had much time to sit here and prepare for Minnesota. They had 1 day in between this game. So do we think, even though they're the best defensive team in the NBA, we're going to get their best defensive performance here in game 1? And I just don't think so. That's the starting point for me. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that was the one thing I thought of, and that it sort of puts this in the category of a spot play. Because as the series goes on, or the series overall, when I look at these matchups, I say to myself, there's going to be a lot of disruption on the defensive end. Game 1, maybe not so. Like you say, Oklahoma City, 100% all-out maximum effort in that Game 7 against Denver. Remember, that's a game, Skee, where they were winning by like 3 points with 2 minutes left in the first half. Take it from a guy who was holding first half -4.5 points. I was like, what are we doing here? We can't make a shot. And then within a 5-minute burst, I think a combination of things, Denver wore out. Certainly, I think we all expected that to happen. And OKC just got out and dunked and did their thing defensively. Couple of things. I guess these would be series-long thoughts from me on the defensive end. We saw OKC employ a strategy where they put Alex Caruso on Jokic. You see that a lot in college basketball, where if there's a dominant center, an opposing coach will kind of send smaller help to slap it. If the big man doesn't keep the ball up, it gets stripped. And I think
Yeah,
Houston's a
go and
real good
harass them.
example of that. Yeah. And Caruso was the lead in that. In this series, you don't have to do that with Rudy Gobert, right? Hartenstein handles him, Chet handles him. Gobert's really not a huge offensive force, but Julius Randle is a guy now who has taken to physical play down toward the rim, backing people in. And I wonder if Caruso doesn't get that assignment. And if that sort of pest style with smaller players doesn't affect Julius Randle, who was unaffected in the last series. And then, of course, on the OKC side, they couldn't make – I shouldn't say they couldn't because the statistics will prove me semi-wrong, Skee, but perimeter-wise, for the majority of minutes in that series, they weren't good. They made their threes in bulk and in short spans. They weren't really a good shooting team overall. And Minnesota's length, if Denver's length bothered OKC, Minnesota's length is truly going to bother OKC. So those are long-term thoughts as the series goes on. I guess I can certainly understand this being a spot play, higher scoring, maybe a little bit more of a track meet. I also wonder real quick about Minnesota's head coach Finch, who said in the previous series against Golden State, I think it was after game one, that he wanted to get out and transition more. He didn't think they were doing enough. He in transition, not taking transition opportunities was poor. The same thought process here. I'm not so sure Minnesota doesn't want to slow things down against this team. Oklahoma City is not a great half-court offensive team, and Minnesota may want to grind it out that way with them. So for me, I will say this quickly. I took an opportunity with what I thought was an inflated series price, Minnesota plus $3. I just thought was too high. You can always come back and go opposite ways. I think I just took that as a flyer based on the number that I saw. Oklahoma City certainly could make 100 cases for them to win this series. But that's where I stand on today's game. I didn't play side or total, but I did play that series price with Minnesota.
A lot of things said there, Rob, that I want to touch on. Number one, as far as like, you said a couple things. You said one, Chris Finch talked about the pace and you know, maybe there were some missed opportunities, right? As far as in transition. That's kind of how I'm looking at this. I mean, I don't think Minnesota wants to slow the game down. When you're facing elite defense like OKC, you want to push and try to score before the defense gets set up.
Right.
So hearing him say that makes me think that the total is moving in the right direction even more. And then to what you said about the series price, I mean, I'm pretty sure this is from Teddy Covers, but he says when you're betting, if you bet the series, you're betting them to win that game right now because otherwise you would wait and get a better price. So that means you think Minnesota can win this game tonight, correct? Not that they will, but you think they can.
Yeah, I think they can.
So I'm in agreement with you on that. I think that there's some ways for them to take advantage of OKC. So I think, I mean, we've talked about the total, right? So when they're not playing fast, when they're not trying to push the pace, when they do have to play half court, there's one mismatch that Minnesota has that I have a hard time seeing OKC defending or figuring out. Like it might take them a couple games to figure out what they want to do. And that's Julius Randle. I know you mentioned that Caruso, you know, did a good job on Joker. Honestly, I think the refs were letting him get away with a lot of hacking. And Joker was also very exhausted too. But Julius Randle is strong, man. He will go right through your chest. Right now, he's playing some of his best basketball. I don't think Caruso can hold him. Not that Joker's not strong, but Randle's not tired. Randle's ready to go. And I think he's a mismatch for any Oklahoma City defender. Do you agree?
Well, I would say that defensive strategy, I mean, like I say, Caruso was the lead, but he wasn't alone. That was like, let's have help coverage from both sides on the dribble. Julius Randle is a guy who likes to put it on the floor. I just don't know if all that slapping at the basketball from more than one player, once he gets deep, that's when the help comes. Will he get frustrated if he gets stripped a couple of times? We saw Jokic get to the rim and then get stripped. And I just wonder, Randall's not a basketball player in my mind. And I like Julius Randle, honestly. I know you're a guy who's come around to him, but since his Kentucky days, I thought he was a good scorer. But in that type of pest type environment, I just don't know that they can't frustrate him a little bit. They're going to ignore Gobert, I'm pretty sure. I would say for other guys, and the next question to that becomes, do you think Randall's as good of a passer out of that type of trap defense as Jokic is? My answer to that
Absolutely
would
not.
be absolutely not, right? Julius Randle's a one-way ticket. Once he has the ball, he's going. He's not necessarily going to pile
He's
up
been a little
assists.
better, but he's nowhere near Joker level.
Yeah, the assists aren't going to come from Julius Randle. So that's a problem that I have with that. And you're right; they may figure that out as they go along. But I think that after what they saw, they may start that way. Now, I'm just going to revert it back to game one here. As an overall team, you said OKC could be exhausted after a 7-game series. If there's one player on that team who should be exhausted, it should be Caruso, because he did all the heavy lifting defensively in that particular series. So you could take advantage maybe here. Good reason why you would want to bet over. I don't know if you want to get on the wrong end of the stick now at 218, 217 and a half, but those who came early probably did the right thing. I do think Minnesota can take advantage of some stuff in game one here. I just don't know that Oklahoma City could have the same. I'm not doubting their fatigue. I'm not looking at a fatigue factor overall with them because they're so deep. But I'm wondering more about mindset, Skee. Could they possibly have the same focus that they had in game 7 here tonight? And it's probably not going to happen. +7 just looks a little large.
So I'm in agreement. So if we're thinking that way, there was a comment in the chat from Dante, says the way it sounds like Wolves team total over. I mean, I like it. It was 103.5 yesterday. It's up. I mean, some shops even have 105.5, but I've listed how they can score in transition. I've said how they can score in the half court. I mean, I don't think there's any way to talk off Wolves team total over. Right, Veno?
You know what? And coming out of my mouth, this is going to sound strange to everybody who follows us on this show, Skee, on your show. I never even considered Minnesota team total over. And then when you said it, I just clicked at the price and I saw 105.5. And I'm thinking, dear Lord, they can lose with 106. And that's not that hard to do here in this game, I wouldn't think, especially, again, we've said it before as a general handicapping theory that game ones are usually played the loosest, right? They're not necessarily as intense defensively. You get a lot of stuff in game ones that you don't get, maybe say game 5. 106 for the T-Wolves in this game, unless they come out. And here's where the rest versus rust question is always 2020 hindsight, right? If they're rusty and they throw up bricks, then maybe you don't get there. But everything else would indicate 106 isn't that hard for the T-Wolves tonight.
Yeah, okay. So I think we did a pretty good job. We talked about this game, a lot of different ways. But before we move on to WNBA, I want to talk just a little bit of props. So based off what we talked about, you said that they may ignore Gobert, and I can agree with that. Like, that's what I think they're going to have to do defensively. And that could mean Gobert gets pulled. So maybe Gobert under on his props. That would mean Naz Reid gets more minutes. His points, maybe points and rebounds, could be a look because he's a guy, if he got him out there, he's going to space the floor. You can't ignore Naz Reid. So I think he gets more minutes. I think if I'm doing 3 props, Gobert unders, Naz Reid points and assists, and Julius Randle PRA over. Those stand out to me. Any of those sound good to you, Vino, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, because it triggered a thought and then you covered that thought, but I'm going to just apply it to Minnesota team total over or game over. If Minnesota goes small without Gobert, the pace just quickens. I mean, we've seen them do that. And Naz Reid has had some big playoff games, a guy who's unafraid, a guy who will shoot their threes. McDaniels has had some big playoff games, so when they go to that small lineup, it's a little bit different. OKC can go to a small lineup as well. Their small lineup actually would include Holmgren, who's 7 feet and runs the floor. So then you get pace. With pace comes opportunity. With opportunity comes potential points and then overs. So, I'm with you on a lot of that.
I'm gonna keep those my short list. I'm looking to make some decisions on those props. I know numbers might have moved since I looked earlier, but all three make sense to me. All right, Vino, I think we did a good job. We talked about the Western Conference Finals Game 1 for about 15 minutes. Now let's talk a little bit of WNBA. See if we can get some money with the ladies. First game up here is 619, 620, Aces and Sun. This one opened up Aces minus 12. Right now, it looks like 14 pretty much across the board. Total open 166 and a half, and not a whole lot of movement from there. We just refresh this injury report. So for Vegas, Cheyenne Parker Tyus, looks like she's out. Megan Gustafson is out. Anissa Morrow out. Lakin out for Connecticut. So Vino, both of these teams lost game 1. Aces to the Liberty. We know how good the Liberty are. I don't want to fault the Aces too much, but I do have to get on the Aces for a little bit of things I saw in that game. Like that defense was pathetic, bro. I mean, it reminded me of. Now I'm kind of blanking out, but was it the Timberwolves versus the Lakers where Timberwolves just they shot horrific and still killed the Lakers? I think it was. They shot like less than 20% from three. Anyway, the Liberty shot 19% from three, Rob Veno. They scored 92 points. That tells you that defense ain't doing a damn thing out there. They just letting people go and get layups, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's going to take some time for the defense to come together, especially when you got new players integrated. I think the same for the offense. Plenty of times in that game, we saw Jewel Lloyd not sure of where to be on the court, kind of messing up the spacing. All of these things are going to take time. Now, in a post-game interview, Becky Hammond said defense about 5 times, but can we really bank on them to come in and flip it around with a little bit of a new group in just this one game on the road? I'm not willing to put my money on that, Rob Vino. As a double-digit favorite, I just think that's a little bit too much for this Sun team. They have a new coach, new roster, but they were executing good. The way they play is hard to defend. And for a team that's already struggling defensively, that's something I like for the underdog. They play fast, a lot of movement. And Mabry shot 5 for 21 in that last game, and they still scored 85 points. She's not going to shoot like that again. I like what I've seen from this Sun team. I think Aces have a long way to go, especially to be laying this big of a number on the road to start the season or this early in the season. So I like Sun plus. I got plus 13, but you can get plus 14 now. And I can't talk you off of an over, Mr. Ravino. Even though Aces say defense, I don't think it's going to translate for this one game, especially with the pace that Connecticut likes to play. So what do you think about this one?
Well, the latter, what you said there is what I pretty much based my play on in this game. A couple of things. First of all, when Becky Hammond is pissed off, I listen. It's kind of like when Jimmy Butler's pissed off in the NBA, you listen. Because when she says something, it's pretty important to her. And you're right. They played the Liberty last game. The Liberty is an excellent team. Las Vegas, we knew, I think when we did our previews, we knew that they were going to be maybe take a little bit of time. But here she's a coach looking for improvement against a team that they personnel-wise on paper can handle. Maybe not by 14, but can handle. I would say that Connecticut going with Washington State. So Connecticut had some troubles of their own on Saturday because they got absolutely crushed by a smaller. Well, they didn't get crushed, but they got crushed in the fast break, is what I want to say here. They got beat 23-4 in fast break points despite playing fast. Playing fast with only 3 fast break opportunities when the other team has 12 and scores 23 points off them. That just, to me, points toward Las Vegas. I'm sure they're aware of that. I'm sure they don't mind going fast. Connecticut did play at the 4th fastest tempo of any team through the first 4 days of the WNBA. So I'm expecting, like you, for this to be a quicker game. I think there's ways for Las Vegas to exploit that. I also think, as you said, Marina Mabry's not going to shoot that horrible again. On the other side of the coin, Jewel Lloyd's probably not going to go 2 for 12 again. I think Jewel Lloyd probably deferred way too much. She's in a new setting. This is a great team. What do I do here? But 2 for 12 against this team, I don't think that happens again. And I think that inside, listen, Washington's a small basketball team, and their starting center gets ejected after only playing 7 minutes and 29 seconds. And so we talked about kind of Washington being a 6-1 and under team that wants to push pace. Connecticut had that advantage inside. Tina Charles capitalized. Can Tina Charles capitalize with 23 here in this game? Maybe. She's a great player, but I also think that Asia Wilson can have a big game against that Connecticut defense. So everything I looked at, the arrows all pointed toward over in some way, shape, or form, whether it be full game or whether it be Las Vegas coming out of the chute quickly and getting over their first half team total of 45.5. I did happen to bet that side of this game, Las Vegas early, over 45.5. I'm not interested in laying points with them at this point in time. Like you mentioned, Connecticut's a brand new group with a brand new head coach with brand new philosophies. They're no longer tortoise pace, strong defense style. They're almost the opposite, to tell you the truth, Skee. So I'm looking towards overs in some capacity. One that I did bet was Las Vegas team total first half over 45.5.
Gotta go to my guy Jay Cash. He says Rob is a little more formal today. Rob, where your swag go? We're a little bit more on the business channel today, Jay, but we'll get back. We'll get back to it a little bit.
Bosses are watching, Jay.
We might gotta watch it a little bit, but no. In all seriousness, I mean, I don't like hearing you say. I mean, I can understand that winning. I think the Aces can score too. It's not that I don't think they can score. I don't think they're going to get stops. So over does sound good. I looked at the Aces. What was it? Aces as a double-digit row favorite off of a loss. I want to say it was 1-3 ATS and 3-1 to the over. So points can be had. They want to win. Do they necessarily have to win by this much? I don't think so. All right. Dream and Fever here, Mr. Veno. This one opened up Fever -9.5. It looks like 7 pretty much everywhere. Total open 169.5. I see it as high as 173.5. Sophie Cunningham is game time decision. They did say she was practicing, but I mean, she was practicing before the last game. Who knows if she's actually going to be out there. Jordan Canada is still out for the Dream, so they'll be missing their starting point guard. Well, first of all, it makes sense to me why the total shoots up. I mean, we know the way the Fever like to play, Rob. They're going to run. I mean, the Fever are pretty much the WNBA Pacers. It's the same. They're going to run. They're not going to play any defense, or not going to play a lot of defense. It's supposed to be track meet and scoring. Will the Dream be okay with the pace? Will they be able to score? I think that the Dream have enough weapons to score, but I didn't get there. I hate to get the ass into the line move, as I usually say, but what do you think about this move?
Well, I did get there, and what you notice about the WNBA early on, Skee, is if you want to get there, you got to get there with these overnights. Not that the 163.5 helped me any in the Seattle-Dallas game yesterday, but it did move to 166. And at that point, it's almost a 3-point move. And here's the same thing. I got 170.5. I played it over. And this morning, earlier, maybe around 9 a.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. Eastern time, could have gotten one. It got up to 174 in a couple of places. It's come back since. But I'm with you. Indiana is Indiana. Much like the Pacers, they're going to impose their will, which is up and down, high-octane track meet. They did it in game 1 here. Absolutely obliterated the Chicago Sky by 35 points. I don't think that's indicative of Indiana being better defensively. I could be wrong about that. It's only been one game, but I don't think it's indicative of Indiana being better defensively. I think it's just a red flag on that Chicago offense, which absolutely, if they're not getting put back layups, they stink. So I would think that Atlanta which ran with the Mystics in the opener on Friday night, right? I think that one went 94-90 with no overtime, just regulation, high scoring game. The Dream took extreme advantage of Washington's size or lack of size in that matchup. The Dream had 15 offensive rebounds, 74 shot attempts, and 23 second chance points. With Brittany Griner in that lineup now, they're a force.
Brianna Jones too.
Yeah, and Brianna Jones, that combo. And I'll give you the numbers there. I mean, that it may not come as easily against Indiana's front line, which is formidable as well. But I mean, they weren't really a force interior wise last year. You combine that with what they have shooting the basketball, and it wasn't even a good night for Ryan Howard, right? She wasn't the one who lit it up. It was Leisha Gray, who scored 25, I think, in that game. So to me, Atlanta's not afraid to go. They have weaponry for scoring inside and out. Indiana doesn't stop anybody. So whenever I'm looking at an Indiana game, I always say to myself, does the other team have the opportunity to score big? And I think Atlanta can score big in this game against that particular defense, but in no way, shape, or form. If Atlanta just gave up 94 to Washington, and in my estimation, Indiana's 90 plus waiting to happen every night, then they're probably not going to stop the Fever here. I'm sure the Fever would like to keep things on court because the drama surrounding poor Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham. I won't say poor Sophie Cunningham because she created her own drama here. But I mean, on the floor,
Sophie Cunningham.
Yeah, I mean, Mizzou. It's a team that's going to score their points. There's no question, and I think the other side can get theirs as well. Skee. I think if I'm looking at Indiana games, I've said before that Dallas, anything 170, anything below 170, I'm probably going to be on. With Indiana, anything below 175, I'm probably going to be on. Chicago just couldn't do the job scoring wise. They really couldn't. And I think Atlanta can.
Bro. They stink.
Yeah.
Chicago stinks. Like they need to just blow it. There's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Remember our list? What was the list?
I can't remember actually.
The NBA teams that were on that list.
I can't remember.
But they're on it. No matter what the list was, Chicago's on it.
Oh yeah. Put them on that list. Yeah, I got you. I'm with you now. Definitely put them on that list. I won't be betting the sky over. The way that offense looked, absolutely not. Not for my money. Won't happen again. Flash. Can't talk you off of the team total. I do think they make it, but I prefer the side if I have to choose. Feel like there was one more thing. What am I missing there? Oh, so Vino, I wanted to ask you, with the line move on the full game, I mean, the first half only moved half a point, opened 85.5, 86. Is there, I mean, I personally can't think of a reason to play first half over full game other than the line didn't move much, but any thoughts from you on that?
Yeah, first half the other day with Chicago hit 77, 45, 32. It's probably cutting it close, Skee. I think in this game, at least this is my thought process, that this game could be within that, let's call it 5 to 8 point range with 90 seconds left where you foul and you get cheap points at the end. So I think the full game total is probably better, especially if, the guards on these teams are really good free throw shooters. So that's who you hope has the ball in their hands at the time. But I'd rather make the case for the full game over than the first half over, just because of that reason. I think you could get more closing points down the stretch here in this game.
All right, good stuff. Well, that looks like the basketball card for Tuesday. We're not gonna fight that baseball. Sorry, you guys. Not fighting the baseball here on this show this season. But I think we did a pretty good job. We did those 3 games, a little bit under 30 minutes. Now it is about time to move to best bets. But before we do that, I will remind everybody, it's the last day for a couple of these things. So let me see if I can get this on here right. I'm still the producer. 3-day all access pass, only $49. So this does end tonight. I'm doing tennis, WNBA, NBA. Vino, he has WNBA, NBA, UFL, right, Vino? I don't know if I'm
Hmm.
missing anything else, but 3-day all access, last day to get it tonight for only $49. And one more, the 1 year all inclusive pass, it comes down to about 99 a month. I mean, it's the best way to get involved if you want to be with the capper, and get all of their plays all the time. It's not usually, I think 1 month is closer to $300 or 200 and something. So not only do you get it for $99 a month, you get a 25% bonus coupon that you can use on whatever else you'd like to purchase on the site. So I think that's a really good deal. Today is the last day for both of those. Vino, my bad, messed that up. Vino, I will still ask you, it is $5 Tuesday. Is there anything you would like to promote? And if you have a best bet for the show, feel free to share. If not, it's all right.
Yeah, I think you said it earlier, Ski, but I will say this. Now that your show has moved over to Wager Talk TV, for those of you who aren't currently members of Wager Talk, just go ahead and drop an email address, get immediate access to all the video content we produce each and every day, solo videos by handicappers, shows provided almost from 10 a.m. basically to 6 p.m. at night. So you're getting action in every sport from all of these guys. Sports that we don't cover, other guys do. So once again, probably be a good idea to just get involved with Wager Talk. Drop your email address and take advantage of at least the free content if you're interested in selection packages. Skee's got the link in the description all the time, or the description in the link. I said that a little bit backwards. And it is $5 Tuesday. If you haven't purchased a play from Wager Talk before, now's the best time to do it on a Tuesday. Take a shot with somebody that you've been following or somebody that you'd like to see what they have. We all have plays up for $5 today. Let's get to best bets, Ski, and I'll go WNBA. A couple of choices here for me, but I really do like this Indiana Atlanta game over. I think that the some of the steam has been taken out of it, obviously by the amount of money that's pushed it up. But I still think that both these teams wind up getting there. So let's say best bet for the show, and one that I've bet already. We'd like to give you stuff that we bet ourselves on this show without really reaching for something that we haven't bet. But I did actually play Indiana, Atlanta. I got the better price, 170.5. But even here at 172.5, I think it's worth this. That'll be the best bet for this show. Indiana, Atlanta, full game over 172.5.
Good stuff from Mr. Vino. And I did, you can see it down there on the bottom ticker. I put it up. You can see both of our profiles there, both mine and Mr. Rob Vino. So, yeah, best bets here. Me personally, it's just, I can only speak for myself. You heard Rob Vino, but I don't like to give bets that I don't personally have in my pocket. So, best bet for the show, I am going to go with, numbers have moved on, a lot of these bets. I'm going to go with Minnesota team total over. The best number you can get right now. When we're doing it, when we were talking about it during the show earlier, it was still a 104.5 out there. Now it's 105.5. I still think they make it there. Just to be transparent with you guys, I am on team total over 103.5 for Minnesota, but I just see too many ways for them to be able to score, whether it's pushing the pace to avoid the half court defense or, playing the mismatches, playing through Randall in the half court. I think that the defense for Oklahoma City is a little less intense after the 7-game series. So Minnesota team total over will be the best bet for me for the show. And let's get us both back up here. Look at that, Vino. A little production work at the bottom
Yeah,
right there.
you're a heck of a producer. You got a future, pal.
Yeah, Johnny Detroit reminding everybody, or he says, great show. Appreciate that. But he reminds everybody, says, please drop some comments on anything you want the show to cover or talk about in the future. Yeah, let us know what you guys like. We always want to make this show better for you guys. That's why we do it. If you enjoyed the show, hit the like button for us. It helps us out. Subscribe so you know whenever we go live. And yeah, we will be live again tomorrow, same time, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I believe that's 1:30 Eastern. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Rob, always appreciate you taking the time to break down the games with me. For the chat, A lot of good people, good cappers, and you guys help make the show what it is. So always want to let you guys know you're appreciated too. Good luck on all of your action. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.